Hey everybody, and welcome to my very first ever Mega Construx Hot Wheels review on this channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at the muscle-bound car. This set comes with a total of 102 pieces and is recommended for ages 5 and up. And we're going to kick off this review by taking a look at the driver that's included with muscle-bound. And overall, I don't dislike or like this minifigure in particular, but I suppose it is a rather nice inclusion. You can see that there is some printed detail on the legs, chest, and helmet of the figure, but as we make our way all the way around, you can see that there's no other printing to be found. I also find the yellow gloves of the driver to be a really interesting color choice, as I feel like it doesn't really go with the overall look and aesthetic that should be with this vehicle. I personally would have preferred to see a little bit of a darker suit, maybe black with some different shades of green to match the vehicle a little bit more accurately in my opinion. I do think that some back and arm printing would have been a nice inclusion just to give the figure a little bit more detail. But I do like the little tiny Hot Wheels logo found on the front of the figure. An interesting thing about this figure is it is a lot smaller than the typical Mega Construx figure. Here I have a Halo figure just for a little bit of comparison, and you can see that the Hot Wheels driver is much shorter. The small size of this figure also limits its articulation. There is a ball joint in the head, so the head can be rotated around left and right and also raised up and down. The arms also have ball joints, so they can be raised up and down and also rotated out to the side, which honestly is a really nice inclusion. And another thing that I found very interesting is you can actually rotate the hand as well. Mega Construx could have easily left out the articulation in the hand and also only had the arms raised up and down for it to properly fit inside of the car, so this extra articulation is nice to see. The joints in the legs are hinges, so the legs can only be raised up and down. They cannot be rotated out to the side, which is completely fine in my opinion. There is also no articulation in the foot, which again, I think is completely fine. And for such a small figure, I do think it has some rather impressive articulation. But don't expect to be able to put this guy in some really cool action poses like you can with Halo figures. And with the driver out of the way, we're finally ready to take a look at the muscle-bound car. From a top-down perspective, the vehicle does have some really good printed detail on the hood and top of the car. From a side point of view, you can also see that there's some printed detail on the side of the vehicle, but I personally would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail here. Here's a quick look at the back of the vehicle. I do like the piece they use for the taillights and how it has some texture to it. I think it's a good design choice and complements the design well. Accessing the interior of the car is relatively simple. You take this piece on top here and gently pull it off. And I actually don't necessarily mind the way that this car looks without its roof. To me, it makes it look like a really tough convertible sports car. With this being such a small build, the interior of the car is rather lackluster. The only thing that there is a couple of studs and a steering wheel. The driver does fit inside the car nicely though, and I do like how his arms can actually be extended out to grasp the steering wheel. That's a really cool detail to me. The last thing I want to mention about the car itself is with this being a Hot Wheels, the vehicle is able to be pushed along a tabletop rather nicely. There are no issues at all, and it's a relatively smooth ride. This of course is something that you would want to hear if you're going to be purchasing a Hot Wheels toy. The box that the car comes in actually has a couple cool features itself. You can turn it into a ramp to have the vehicle drive down, which I think is a rather interesting use of the box if you so choose to do that. And if we take a look at the top of the box, you can see that there's actually a couple of cardboard cutouts where the wheels of the vehicle are. And the purpose of these cutouts is to securely display the car on top of the box that it comes in, which I think is a really cool option for displayability of this set. I picked up this set at Dollar General for I believe $10, and you can find it online anywhere from $15 to $20. I'm not the biggest Hot Wheels fan, so for me personally, I don't think it really is worth that price. But if you're a really big Hot Wheels fan and this is a must-have to add to your collection, I say go for it. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews.